What's up, guys? Welcome to a new episode of the podcast. This week we have a lot of New York news, starting off with DJ LeMahieu signing a 6-year, $90 million deal with the Yankees. We got Corey Kluber signing a 1-year, $11 million contract with the Yankees too. Robert Saleh is the new head coach for the Jets. And in the biggest news this week, probably of the year in sports, is going to be James Harden going to the Nets. So we're going to start off with that one first. It was a 3-team trade, which ended up kind of being a 4-team trade because the Rockets traded right after with the Pacers. So Brooklyn obviously receiving James Harden. Houston got Victor Oladipo, Dante Exum, Rodion Kurucs, and 4 first-round picks and 4 Nets pick swaps. The Cavs got Jared Allen and Taurean Prince. And Indiana got LeVert and a second-round pick. So how do we feel about this trade? Very, very big stuff happening.
Yeah, there's definitely two sides to the trade. The first side is the Nets. Nets going for it. They don't have to trade Kyrie Irving, which was what was reported that they might have to part with. They don't. They have Kyrie, they have KD, they have James Harden. It's all in. They're trying to win a chip right now, which is good. You always like the teams to try to win now and go for it. They don't want to ruin the opportunity of having KD and Kyrie still in their primes. So they get one of the best offensive players in the game, James Harden. So that was great. They didn't really give up much in terms of players. Karis LeVert was a nice player, but he didn't really have a role on this team. And Jared Allen was nice. He was okay.
I think them giving up Jared Allen is pretty big, actually.
You think so? You don't think? I think they could probably just pick up players off the scrap heap.
Yeah, but Jared Allen isn't like some player off the scrap heap. He's a pretty good defensive player. They got DeAndre Jordan, old rundown ass, running fucking 30 minutes a game out there.
Yeah, I think you can get someone like a Tyson Chandler type, Dwight Howard type. Obviously he's on a team already, but those type of players just to get boards for you. Mm-hmm. Maybe in the buyout market when it comes out, maybe some guys get bought out. JaVale McGee, maybe someone like that.
Yeah, okay.
So I don't think it's too huge. I think they definitely have to address it, but they're getting James Harden,
Yeah, no, definitely.
And the second part of the deal is the Rockets getting pretty much 8 picks in total. It's 4 firsts, if I'm not mistaken, and 4 picks and 4 pick swaps.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a pretty great haul. I mean, I think it broke the record for the most trades for a player or whatever. And they got Karis LeVert, flipped them for Oladipo. I think that was an okay move. They're still trying to win now, so I see it, and they're trying to try to go with maybe like a high upside reward there. Maybe Oladipo's healthy and he starts playing better. And Jared Allen ended up in the Cavs somehow. I don't know. Now they have 3 centers there. They got Drummond, Allen, and K-Love, and Tristan Thompson left. I don't know where he's in Boston.
Boston, yeah.
Yeah. So really good trade for the Rockets, I think, given the situation that they had to trade James Harden anyways. They got 8 picks. They got a Oladipo. Not bad, And then for the Nets, obviously, Dante Exum. But for the Nets, obviously, it was a great, great, great move for them. They're trying to win now. They should. They have, I think, either the best odds or the second best odds behind the Lakers to win the whole thing this year. And they're really exciting,
Mm-hmm. I just wanted to talk about it as a Houston Rockets fan,
Mm-hmm.
This trade really sucked. It hurt. I mean, we gave James Harden the world, man. We got him Dwight Howard. It didn't work out. Got him Chris Paul. Should have won that championship. And then we missed 27 threes in a row. Got him Russell Westbrook. That shit went nowhere. So, I mean, I don't know. I wish he stayed, but what are you going to do? I don't like the way he forced his way out, though.
Mm-hmm.
And, the way he just, went about it with the locker room with the guys in the back. Because, I mean, DeMarcus Cousins was talking about it. He was very upset. And then the day after he got traded. So, I mean, maybe DeMarcus Cousins holds some weight that I don't know about. But the Rockets aren't that are not in that bad of a position. I don't know if they're gonna. To be honest, I don't know if they are gonna go far in the playoffs, if they even make it to begin with, because they got their 3 best players are all injured. They got half a knee between Oladipo, DeMarcus Cousins, and John Wall. But I mean, this Christian Woods team now, baby. Christian Wood's the future. I mean, hopefully, they get some playoff runs. Hopefully they can do something. We'll see. But I mean,
Mhm.
big for Brooklyn. They're going for it now. Like you said, second best odds, if not the best odds behind the Lakers.
Can I cut you off real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
As a Houston Rockets fan, because I'm actually curious to know, does Harden forcing his way out, does that impact the way you feel about him? Because obviously he was your favorite player. I know that from knowing
Yeah.
him. Does him forcing his way out and the way he went about it, pretending that he gained, gaining weight, looking fat, out of shape, whatever, the interviews, the press conference saying he wants to get traded, all the antics. Does that
Yeah.
change how you view him as a player, as your favorite player? Is he still your favorite player?
Well, see, James Harden's kind of stupid.
Okay.
He's my favorite player because he plays like really well. But like his off the court shit's kind of crazy. Like all those 4 PF parties he was at with the little baby and shit, and he was supposed to be at training camp or whatever. That shit was, you know, that shit really sucked to see. And I mean, when I saw him at those parties, I knew he was. There's no way he was gonna play this season out. It was gonna happen eventually. So I mean, I still love James Harden's game, but now Christian Wood, that's the guy right there.
So
The best
you're
player in the world.
you're still a Rockets fan.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You're not the people who follow players now. Oh, where Harden goes, I go. Where LeBron goes, I go.
No, I still love Harden. Like I'm probably gonna get that Nets jersey.
No, I'm
But
saying, but at heart, you're still a Rockets fan.
yeah, definitely. It's the
Okay.
first team I started watching basketball with, so
No, I respect that. I don't like the people who travel, bro.
yeah, I'm gonna stick with him. But I mean, him being in Brooklyn's dope. Him being in Brooklyn's cool.
He's in New York, even though it's
Yeah.
the Nets. At the end of the day, he's still in New York.
Yep, it's cool.
Yeah. You play basketball in the same city as James Harden, in the same borough, right?
Yeah, right.
It is kind of crazy to think about.
What do you think this does for the 76ers
Mm-hmm.
and like Ben Simmons? Because I mean, everyone was talking about how Ben Simmons was definitely gonna get traded. It was probably in the back of like Ben Simmons' mind, even if he didn't want to say it was. And now it's like shit like that. Like, how does it ruin like chemistry between a team, or like with like how does like it could be create like a drift between like the ownership and the GM and the coach between the player, because like you think you're getting traded this whole time, and then shit like that happens. I forgot where it happened exactly in football, and like kind of fucked everything up.
Mm.
But I mean, shit like that. What do you think it does for the 76ers now? Because now, I mean, they got to deal with Kyrie, KD, and Harden in the same conference, and they got to see him in the
So
playoffs. What do you think?
I think Ben Simmons. I think it definitely leaves an impact on him because their team was about to trade you, and as a team, they probably committed to him. They gave him the big contract. They probably told him he's a star. He's going to be here for the next 5-6 years, whatever the contract. I think it was 5-year deal extension. And then just a year later, they're trying to trade you for James Harden. So I think I don't know personally, but I think he might feel some type of way about it. Because obviously, I think he must have known, right? If he was in a trade package, which definitely sounds like he was, I think they would probably tell him he was in, right?
Yeah.
But as a team, I'm not sure how they feel. Like the fact that they lost out to James Harden really screwed them over, because now they have to verse James Harden when they go to the playoffs, and that stacked team, the Brooklyn Nets team, and then now they might have a potential rift with one of their two superstars. So I'm not sure where it stands with them. We'll see, as the season progresses and news leaks and stuff. But yeah, I think the Philly was so close to acquiring him. It sucks that they didn't, in a sense that for them,
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess it's one of those things we have to wait and see how the marriage progresses later on through his extension.
For sure. Now, Kyrie's he was questionable today against the Bucks, but he's not going to be playing this game. So, do you think he's coming back soon after seeing how the Nets won their game against, was it Orlando? He played Orlando
I think it was
for James Harden's first game.
Yeah, I think it was. Vucevic dropped like 34 on them. It was Orlando, yeah.
Yeah, and then James Harden had a 30-point triple-double, almost a quadruple-double with turnovers. KD's KD. He played amazing. And I mean, they won first game. It doesn't look too bad. I know the Magic aren't that great, but like two high volume scores like that getting put together, winning a game like that. I think that says a lot about how the Nets are going to be, especially if Kyrie comes back and they can gel together. I think that's what it really comes down to.
Yeah, they had James Harden and Durant popping off, but their defense is horrible. They still
Oh
almost lost
yeah.
that game. And for Kyrie, I'm at the point with Kyrie is I'm not gonna believe it till I see it. Until he gets on that court, I don't think he's coming back. Like,
Yeah.
I pray for Kyrie in a sense that I hope he's doing okay mentally because I know there's some speculation that he's dealing with stuff, depression maybe or something. But I hope he's okay. I hope he gets back on the court. I hope he does, continues doing what he loves and playing basketball. But until he's on the court, I can't. I won't believe it till I see it. And I also won't. I need to see how all three of them play together as a whole, as a unit. And
Yeah.
when the game's on the line, 23 seconds on the shot clock, tie game, whatever, down two. Who's taking the last shot?
All three of them.
Yeah, all three of them take the last shot. If my guess is KD takes the shot, but
Yeah, maybe they'll switch it off. Who knows?
Yeah.
James Harden gets this shot. KD gets the next shot. Kyrie gets the next one. But yeah, KD should be shooting that game winner every time, probably.
Yeah, for sure. And I actually have some questions about Steve Nash. I'm not really liking his first year as a head coach. I understand the situation's kind of tough. I think people get confused thinking, any coach would be lucky to coach the Nets, because it's so easy. But I think it's hard when you have Kyrie, who's AWOL, he doesn't tell you anything, and that puts the head coach in a tough spot. Kevin Durant, you still have to, ease him in, and when do you rest him? When do you play him? Do you push him? Do you, limit him? And then they trade for James Harden, and now it's a new dynamic, and now you have all the antics with James Harden and what he does off the court, and the strip clubs and everything he does. So I'm not really liking Steve Nash's what he's doing on the court, like with the rotations and stuff. I don't like what he's doing with the rotations and the play calls, the X and O's.
Yeah.
But I'll give him a little slack because he is in a tough situation. He's still a rookie head coach. But I think that might be a serious concern for me going forward. That you might see some more questionable stuff when it comes playoff time. With
Yeah,
Nash.
no, we definitely have to see. We talked about this last week, but NBA more suspensions this week. Game postpones. Sorry. You got 10 games postponed this week. A lot of Washington games. Memphis game got postponed. Today the Heat Pistons got postponed right before we started. How long can they keep this up? Eventually they have to take a break. I don't think there's any way they could just power through this.
Yeah, I'm actually during the last pod, I was actually saying I would be surprised if the season wasn't paused by this pod, and it's not. But yeah, it's not, and it's kind of like how many more postponements and rescheduling can you get to a point where can you actually finish a 72 game season?
Yeah,
because you can't have guys playing back to back all the last 2 weeks of the season trying to catch up games because you guys are gonna break down. So
yeah, just asking for injuries.
Yeah, I think the NBA needs to get under control. I think players have to take it more seriously. I don't know really. No, I don't have the information to know who to blame, but they got to get under control because their season's in jeopardy.
I don't know if I said this last week, but I think Silver's got to start being more strict.
Yeah.
With these things, because
Mm-hmm.
I feel like fucking right after James Harden did that thing where he was out partying and shit, and then he got no game suspended, he got a little fine. I think players see that and they're like, well, if he can do it, fuck it, I'll do whatever now.
I 100% agree. I think Adam Silver is a little too friendly with them. I think his tenure as a commissioner is really friendly and stuff, and people like him. But this is serious shit, A lot of money is at stake. People's health is at stake. Not just the players, but people that work there, workers. Everybody. You have old coaches. You have old refs. You got to take it more seriously. So yeah, I think he has to start, coming down with the hammer and being a little more strict and not letting these guys do whatever the hell they want. Partying with no mask. Kyrie, cough, cough. Dancing at his sister's wedding, I think it was.
I think it was birthday.
Okay, it was the birthday. You're right. So I think Adam Silver needs to get a hold on his league and make sure think people are actually taking this shit serious.
Yeah, no, I agree. There was one thing I saw that we didn't talk about. Didn't the Mets and Francisco Lindor agree to a contract?
It was just arbitration. So I explained it two pods ago, I think, or one pod. But so when you're on a rookie contract in MLB,
Mm-hmm.
the last 3 years you're arbitration eligible. So how it works is you look at the production they did the previous years, and and you kind of compare them to other players around the league and what they made those years, and that's how they come up with a contract. So
Well, I mean, he got the fourth largest contract in MLB history.
yeah, so because he's a well accomplished player and he has a lot of stuff, he made a lot of money on his final arbitration year, because you compare it to other All Stars and other Gold Glove people, and you look at what they make. They make about 20 million per se. That's what they got, and that's how arbitration works. So it wasn't really a contract. Like, they didn't sign a contract. He was still under control. It was
Yeah.
just they came to an agreement about how much money he will make that season, the 2021
Okay.
season.
All right. You want to talk about these Yankees contracts with me? You want to explain to me who these
Oh yeah,
players are?
so this was a great week for Yankees, and I think it was it last Monday? No, Tuesday. I forgot when it was, but they signed DJ LeMahieu and Corey Kluber in a 24-hour span, and Yankees fans were excited, and they should be. They should be excited. They got DJ LeMahieu, their best player, on a very cheap deal. 5 or 6 for 90, I think.
Mm-hmm.
It might sound like a lot, but before the offseason started, people were thinking like 4 for 100, 5 for 125, something like that, and they got him for 6 for 90.
It's pretty
So
good.
it's really good, and he's their best player. They needed him. The offseason would have been a huge failure if they didn't re-sign him. You know, they got him
Mm-hmm.
on a good contract, and they added Corey Kluber, who was a Cy Young winner, which is like MVP for pitchers, just 2 years ago.
Okay.
Now, the reason why he only got a 1 year deal is because he's been injured the last 2 years,
Oh.
so he's coming off injuries. But this is what they need. They needed a veteran pitcher in the rotation behind Garrett Cole, and they have all these young pitchers, right? And they just needed that veteran, steady, high upside guy to in the between,
Yeah.
because you don't really want to rely on a bunch of young pitchers, because you just never know how their arms react to a full 162, or if they can produce at a high for a long marathon, because it's not really a sprint baseball, it's a marathon.
Yeah.
So I think it's a great signing. They needed the pitching. He's high upside, not a lot of risk. 1 year. If he sucks, he sucks. That's it. But if he's good, you have him. You have a Cy Young caliber type pitcher for only a 1 year. For 1 year. So it was two great signings. It's great. I think they still need maybe a little bit more pitching, and they still need a left-handed bat. So great job, Yankee fans. You should be excited. Brian Cashman's doing a great job, but all in all, this is still pretty much the same team as last year, though. And you got knocked out by the Rays last year. It's
Mm-hmm.
great you got DJ back, but he was on the team already last year when got knocked out. Corey Kluber is good, but he's pretty much replacing Tanaka and Paxton and J Hap. Who you guys are most likely going to let walk this offseason. So you got to get more. It's not about keeping the same talent level. It's about improving. If you're not improving, you're getting worse. So they got to keep improving this team. They still need more pitching. Yankee fans know they still need that left-handed bat, because they're a right-handed dominated lineup. It's all righties pretty much. So they got to get more left-handed. But all in all, two great signings. I love it. Great. But what's next,
Mm-hmm. Okay. It's making sense. Next, Robert Salah won a championship with the Seahawks, 2013 to 14. Last was a defensive coordinator for the 49ers, who made the Super Bowl last year. Now he's the head coach of the Jets.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, how do you feel about that?
This is actually my number one head coaching candidate this off season. This period where head coaches and coordinators get interviews. It was hit between him and Arthur Smith, I thought, which were the top two. And I thought Salah was number one, and I'm so happy he's a Jet, because the Jets have a horrible culture right now. It's just a bunch of losing, and players don't give a shit, and top players want to leave. Le'Veon wanted to leave. Jamal Adams wanted to leave. All these players talented players want to leave. They need a culture builder, and I think he's a culture builder. He's a great defensive coordinator. I think it's proven
Yeah,
that
definitely.
San Francisco's had a top defense almost every year he's been there. 3 years, 3 years. He's been there for a little while.
Yeah, 3 years, I think.
Yeah, and this year they were a top 10 unit this year, and they had so many injuries. Nick Bosa was out for the year. I mean, honestly, you can name any player on the defense, and eventually at one point there was someone was hurt, a starter, you know, and all the corners were hurt. The defensive line was hurt. Nick Bosa, I said, was a huge one, and they still, despite the injuries, they still finished a top 10 unit. You know, had they a better offense, they probably would have made the playoffs again this year. So
Yeah.
I like Robert Salah. I was super, super excited. I did not want the Jets to get Doug Peterson. I said that before. I love the attitude he brings. I seen a clip on Twitter, and he was talking about how when you fill out a staff, you can't get a bunch of like-minded people like you. You know,
Mhm.
you have to hire people who fill your weaknesses. So you have to be aware of your weaknesses and understand that, and hire people that cover for your weaknesses. You know, and that's just a true testament to the type of person he is as like a leader of men, as a head coach. You know. So I think Jets fans, they should be nothing but excited for him. You know, he's literally the anti-Adam Gase, right? Adam Gase was this offensive coordinator who was like a jerk to the media. He thinks he's smarter than everybody. Head into the playbook, doesn't care about the defensive side of the ball. You know, he's not really a leader. Players hate playing for him. We've seen that in Miami and the Jets. Now you bring in a guy who's high spirit, high intensity, cares about all sides of the ball, from reports saying, and people like to play for him. When he got the job, you seen, I think Richard Sherman and some other guys, they were complimenting. They said the Jets, you got a steal here. You know, you got a good one. So that just shows that players like to play for him. He's intense. He's everything Adam Gase isn't, and that's a great thing because Adam Gase is horrible. You know.
Yeah, no, I like this head coach signing too. I mean, he's proven as a defensive guy. But now we're gonna see if he can back it up as a head coach. But I like him. First was the first Muslim coach in the NFL, right?
Yeah.
That's always cool. I mean,
breaking barriers.
Shout out Robert Salah, and hopefully he has a great year. Hopefully the Jets can get him some good players to coach, and he makes shit happen.
I also actually want to say something. I actually forgot this, and I seen on Twitter when the signing happened. But did you know that the 49ers get 2 third-round picks now? Because he's a minority coach. He was a minority coordinator and got a head coaching job.
How does
So the NFL passed, I think it was this season. I forgot that this happened, and I seen on Twitter that if a team like grooms like a minority coach, and that coach like a coordinator or something, and that coach becomes a head coach, the team that groomed him gets 2 third-round picks. I think at the end of the draft, so like where comps would go, like
okay.
compensation pick. So I think that was good. I think so. It doesn't really affect the Jets, but I'm just saying like that was really cool that the rule kind of happened already, and I kind of forgot that it happened. So I just kind of wanted to add that in there.
Okay, that's dope.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think that's pretty much it for New York, right?
Yeah.
You want to get into the head coaching signings throughout the NFL this week?
Yeah, for sure.
So we'll start off with the Falcons signing Arthur Smith, Titans offensive coordinator. He's been with the Titans for a long time. Been the offensive coordinator for a little while now. The new head coach for the Falcons. I mean, the Titans offense has been pretty good, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So I mean, he's definitely a good coordinator, and I feel, I mean, it's gonna say this a lot, but I mean, it's the same with every coordinator turned head coach. They're good at the one side of the ball that they're on. They have to prove that they're able to work both sides now.
Yes, sir.
But this is good for the Falcons, I think.
Mm-hmm.
After the last couple years of just like disappointment after disappointment, right after the Super Bowl, it all kind of went downhill. Mm-hmm. So they need someone new who can get in there and make shit happen, make new things happen, make the players want to play the game.
Yeah, if he can make Ryan Tannehill look really good sometimes, I think what he can do with Julio and Ridley and Matt Ryan, I think the offensive side of the ball should be good. But like you said, I agree 100%. When it comes to these hot sexy coordinators that get the head coaching job. It's all about what do they do as a team, because there's more to football than just one side of the ball. You know, who does he bring in as his coordinators? Who does he bring as his defensive coordinator? Who does, you know, does he have control over the whole team or just one side of the team? You know. So I liked Arthur Smith. I thought he was a top candidate. I thought he did some really good things with the offense and the O line and the run game in on Tennessee. Thought he made he kind of revitalized Ryan Tannehill's career, and he's playing at a good level. So I'm excited. He's not the high intensity like Robert Salah is. He's more of a quiet, to himself kind of guy. So I think for the Falcons, I think this is a great signing. No real complaints,
Next, the Chargers signed Brandon Staley, the Rams defensive coordinator from last year, as this year, I guess. This year as their head coach. And I mean, Rams had, I think, the best defense in the league, right?
Yeah, they're up there.
I think like stat-wise they had the best defense, and I mean, fuck it, why not? The Chargers need somebody. I think this is good. I've never heard anything bad about Brandon Staley. So, I mean, why not? Go for it.
Brandon Staley's, he's a really good defensive mind, and it's just, we're going to have to keep repeating it. You just have to see what they do on all sides of the ball,
Yeah.
More than
just
going
to be said a lot.
Yeah, he's a great defensive mind, So, with the Rams, everybody knows Sean McVay's coaching. It's Sean McVay's offense, right? And he gets so much credit. But their defense is really what carries them, That's kind of an underrated thing, Like, when they got to the Super Bowl, they held the Patriots to, 13 points? That was pretty good. You hold the Patriots to 13 points in the Super Bowl, that you should win the game, right? But the offense pooped their pants, So, I think he's a good defensive coordinator. We'll see how he, becomes a head coach. So, nothing that, we'll see. And just all these head coaches, you just don't know with head coaches. Some days, they think you're a great hire. Year, 2 years later, they're horrible hires,
Yeah.
So, we'll see.
Next, Dan Campbell, Saints assistant to the head coach and the tight ends coach, gets hired as the Lions head coach. I don't have much to say about this one. I don't really know much about Dan Campbell. Assistant to Sean Payton's pretty good. It's dope. But, I mean, anything is better than what the Lions have had in the last decade, maybe. So, I mean...
Yeah, I mean, anything could be an upgrade over Patricia, who lost the locker room the second he got there. I've never seen that before. He loses the locker room, the same, training camp, he got hired. People hated him. It was like, he was trying to be Bill Belichick too much, and players didn't like that.
Yeah, I mean, you have to prove yourself. Matt Patricia's never been proven besides being a Belichick coach.
Yeah, disciple, whatever.
You need to be proven to be able to control a locker room like that and start being like a hard ass.
Yeah, and then at the end you have to be yourself, Like you can't twirl the whistle around and be a hard ass like you're Bill Belichick and not have the pedigree of Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick gets away with it because he's won 6 rings, right? Yeah. That's why Bill Belichick gets away with the things he does. But who's Matt Patricia? You don't have the credibility as Bill, and I think the phoniness kind of rubbed off on him, off the team, and the team didn't like playing with him, and that's why they got rid of him. And for Campbell, right?
Yeah, Campbell.
He's kind of an unknown because he really wasn't the sexy candidate this offseason. So he's just the one that we'll have to see. We don't really know too much about. I mean, it doesn't take much to be better than Patricia, though.
Yeah, definitely.
How about the Jags next?
This is gonna be the final coaching hire that we have this week. Urban Meyer to the Jags. I mean, what can you say about Urban Meyer? The guy's an amazing college head coach, if not one of the best there's ever been.
Yeah, Urban Meyer is funny because he's a great college coach. Then he retired for not even a year.
Yeah.
And then he comes back and he's the Jaguars coach. What the heck? So definitely something happened there. I don't know what happened. We'll probably find out, but
I can tell you what's gonna happen. Jags are picking Fields.
Justin
number
Fields.
1. Yep.
A lot of people saying that. This Jaguars hiring Urban Meyer could be one of the greatest things that happened for the Jets if it pans out the way some people think. You know, he was the Ohio State coach, and
Yeah.
the Ohio State has a quarterback that's pretty good, and they have the number 1 pick. Does he? He likes Justin Fields because he recruited him. He was there when he recruited him. So, does he love Justin Fields that much to take him number 1, or maybe even considering a trade back to get him?
Oh, so I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I don't think they take Justin Fields as number 1 just because Trevor Lawrence is Trevor Lawrence, but if I could see them trading back.
Yeah, so
That is something I could see.
As a Jets, now listen, I don't want Jets fans getting their hopes up, thinking we're gonna get Trevor, but I think just play it cool, trust Joe Douglas because I like Joe Douglas. I think he's a very competent GM, and let him see. You know, maybe he can finesse something. You know, if they're willing to trade for the number 1 pick and get Justin Fields, I think they got to be on it. And let's just.
Well, wouldn't the Jets have to trade for the number 1 pick then to get it?
Well, they have the number 2 pick.
Yeah.
So it probably wouldn't cost too much.
That's true.
So to move back from 1 to 2, it'd probably take, because it's Trevor Lawrence, because it's someone so coveted, it'll probably take the 2nd pick and another first next year, and maybe a 2 next year or this year. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I can see that.
So it's not a lot, but you normally it wouldn't even be that much. So 2 1s and a 2. Maybe some kind of like conditional 3rd or something. But because it's Trevor Lawrence, you're going to have to pay up, you know. And that's if they're even willing to do that trade. But
yeah, we'll see.
How about
Draft's still a long way away.
How about this? So we're done with the head coaching. This is because it's a nice segue. How about let's talk about another potential Jets quarterback that might be coming, right? Do you know who I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
So
Deshaun Watson, right?
Yeah. So Deshaun Watson's on Twitter telling everybody that would listen to him that he's in New York right now. He's in New York. He likes to be in New York. I don't know what he's doing in New York. I think he's just partying, hanging out, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the situations every day is getting worse and worse, right? Would you say?
Yeah.
More reports are saying that no, he wants out. He wants out. He's gonna get out. So Texans, I think, are just now like listening to offers, but I see it on Twitter where multiple reporters are saying, "Hey, if this guy gets traded, look out for the Jets because the Jets might have the best offer. They can offer the Texans the number 2 pick overall, which is definitely coveted, definitely worth something a lot. They have Sam Darnold that they could trade, and they could maybe convince Texans that okay, he's not Deshaun Watson, but he'll hold it down for a couple years, you know, while you figure it out and maybe find his replacement, or maybe he becomes something good because he's still relatively young. So you have the number 2. You have all the extra picks, the 2 extra picks you got for Jamal Adams. You have some other picks you got from other trades before that rolling over. So they're in very prime position, and I think if I'm the Jets and Deshaun Watson's available, I'm gonna do it. You know, I know the team's not quite there yet, but he's an all-star level quarterback, and you don't have one. You know, so you got to make the trade. You can't win in this league until you get your franchise quarterback. Then after you get him, you have to make sure he's protected. You got an O-line, and you get some weapons for him. You know, so I think no brainer, no question. If the Texans make it available, Jets got to get on the phone call and try to get a deal done.
Yeah, I think what I read was that Deshaun Watson said that the only way he's going to stay in Houston is if the ownership is changed. So pretty much he's asking for McNair, right? McNair's the owner's name, I think?
Yeah.
He's asking McNair to fire himself pretty much. That's the only way he'll stay. And we know that's not going to happen.
Obviously.
So if the Jets can't trade for that number 1 pick, I think it goes both ways. If they can't trade for the number 1 pick, they go for Deshaun Watson. If they can't get Deshaun Watson, then they trade for the number 1. If they can't do either, then they're fucked. Not fucked, but you know.
Yeah. Like I said, Joe Douglas has options, and he has to play it cool. And he has to, whatever falls in his lap, you know. If they can't get Watson and they can't get, and if the Jaguars take Trevor Lawrence, you sit there at 2, and you guys still get a pretty good quarterback in Justin Fields, right? That's a pretty good, plan C, plan D, maybe, potentially?
Plan C, probably, yeah.
Yeah. Maybe they like the other guy, Zach Wilson, or maybe just keeping Sam Darnold and going best player. Maybe that's plan C. So I think the Jets are in a great position right now. And whatever falls in their lap, they have to be ready and be prepared to jump on it because you just don't know.
Yeah. There was one thing I wanted to bring up because we were talking about all these like new head coaching hires and shit. I read a stat, I think on Reddit or Twitter, I can't remember which, but Jon Gruden,
Okay.
everybody loves him. The only head coach in the NFL that has missed the playoffs in the last 3 years that still has a job. How much time do you think he has left?
I mean, they gave him like a 10-year deal, so I think he has all the time in the world.
I don't know what it is about Jon Gruden. Why does everybody keep him for forever?
I think it's
Why do they love him so much?
I think it's just like the persona, you know?
He just has so
Like,
much charisma. He could just be like, "Yeah, no, you giving me another year," and everyone's like, "Yeah, I guess we're giving you another year."
yeah. I mean, the Raiders have improved the 3 years he's been there, but I think you kind of want to see more improvement considering all the first round picks they had. They had all the first round picks for the Khalil Mack trade, right? They
Mm-hmm.
traded Amari Cooper. That's another first round pick they got, and all these first round picks, and the team's still they're improving, but this still haven't made the playoffs. Still haven't won
Yeah,
anything tangible. So
nothing to warrant it.
I think Gruden has. I mean, you would have to think he has minimum like 2 years minimum. Most
Mm-hmm.
likely 3 to 4 if he still doesn't win anything. You know,
Yeah,
I think more likely than not he stays for a while. I can't see them firing him and paying him 10-year, the rest of the 10-year contract to sit on his ass. That's a lot of money for a lot of years you're eating.
yeah, for sure.
That's actually a funny stat.
Yeah, the only coach. It's kind of wild to me. But I mean, yeah, they did give him that 10 years, so who knows? Maybe he just rides at the 10 year. Fuck it.
Yeah.
So you want to start talking about the divisional round?
Yeah.
I thought we had some really good games.
Mm.
To be honest, I enjoyed every single game. Maybe besides like the Ravens Bills one, but I mean we'll get to there when we get there. First we have Green Bay versus the Rams. 38. What the fuck?
Can't talk.
First we have Green Bay
Okay.
and the Rams.
Mm-hmm.
32-18.
Yep.
I mean the Rams kept it close until the fourth, pretty much. But we are who we thought they are, right? That's what we said.
The Rams are who we thought they were. We knew that they were going into Lambeau and beating Aaron Rodgers the way he's playing. You know.
Yeah, the Packers offense stepped up really hard with I mean, Devontae Adams didn't have a bad game, but for Devontae Adams, he had a kind of a slow game. But I mean, Lazard played amazing. He had that one great TD catch. The Packers look good. He never stopped looking good.
Yeah, their run game was unstoppable.
Oh yeah, Aaron Jones had a spectacular game.
Williams, Jones, Dillon, whoever they threw out there, they were getting chunked. Every rushing play, they got 4 or 5 yards. And when you get a rushing game like that, and you have Aaron Rodgers slinging it,
Yeah,
you're not gonna win no matter what team, what offense, what defense you have. Packers came to play. They were out. They were out. They were being more physical at the line of scrimmage.
yeah,
And you've seen it. They were just a more physical team. They were the better team. There's no way around it. The Packers deserve to win, and the Rams deserve to lose, and that's what happened. That's why we both.
yeah. No,
That's why we both picked them last week in our pick'ems. We just didn't believe this Rams team would go any farther than they have.
yeah, definitely. They had me a little scared for a little bit, but
Listen, they didn't give up.
yeah,
They play hard, but like I said, the talent level and the way Aaron Rodgers is playing, he's playing at the highest level right now. It's hard to beat him right now. Beat that Packers team. Very scary team.
yeah, for sure. I'm very excited for next week's matchup, but we'll get to that later. Next game, Bills versus the Ravens, 17-3. Tucker missed those 2 field goals. That was big. I didn't expect that.
Yeah.
I did not. He couldn't believe it either. He was losing his mind. But I mean, the Bills played a very good defense against that Ravens team.
We talked about it last week that Lamar kind of shed that narrative that he's not a playoff quarterback.
Yeah.
And then he kind of played to the narrative really bad again. The big games, you can't score 3 points in a playoff game. As an offense,
Mm-hmm.
he needs to start slinging the ball and hitting people when they're open.
And then he got hurt too.
He got hurt. That was scary.
That sucked. Yeah.
But it was a great game. The Bills better team. Their defense played out of their mind. I mean the pick six was great. That was a great play.
100-yard interception.
Do you know who caught it? Do you remember?
It's Taron Johnson.
That sounds right. But yeah, that was the play of the game. That killed it, you know? That was a
Mhm.
14-point swing. They were in the red zone. If they score a touchdown, that's 7 points. But instead, they give up a pick six. That's 14 points. I mean, that's 7 points the other way.
Yeah.
So, not much. It was kind of a boring game. The Ravens just couldn't get anything going. They just could. I don't know what it is with Lamar. It's just he just doesn't show up. I don't know. What do you think it is?
I really don't know either. I maybe it's like, once they're in the playoffs, you kind of like because you have a whole week to scout out that one opponent. So I mean, I guess like they figure out something to stop him. I think Lamar needs to get. I mean, he got a lot better at throwing this last year and the year before too.
Mhm.
But I don't know. I feel like there needs to be more or something. I'm not sure what it is.
Yeah, I think that the teams that they verse in these high situations, because when you get to the playoffs, talent level and the teams they verse go up. You know,
Yeah.
when it's playoffs, teams defenses that were good go become great. Defenses that are great become excellent, and then even defenses that are kind of bad, like the Bills' defense was okay. They play a notch up, you know, because it's the playoffs. So I think teams don't really respect the Ravens' passing attack,
Hmm.
and they just kind of always play for the run. And the Ravens team, they rely on the run to set play actions and trigger plays and shots downfield. And when you don't have that run and you don't really have that passing game, and so I don't know if it's a coordinator, a scheme. Lamar. I don't know what's going on, but I think they just got to get Lamar maybe a better weapon for the pass attack, and they got to start slinging the ball downfield. They're
Hmm.
not gonna keep running the ball and doing these play options, the pass. What is it, RPO options, right?
Yeah.
You're not gonna win a game on a a Super Bowl caliber defense or team. It's just in the playoffs. That's not gonna happen.
I mean, and the Bills' offense looking kind of shaky the last 2 weeks too.
Yeah, for sure. I had them as maybe a sneaky pick for the Super Bowl, but the way the offense is playing, I don't know. It's scary.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see what happens next week, cause big stuff happening next week. I mean, in this next game that might change how the Bills like how tough the game is going to be for the Bills next week.
Yeah.
So the first game on Sunday was Chiefs versus the Browns, 22-17. I want to start off with one question first. With the helmet to helmet play, right?
Hmm.
It got reviewed, and then they said it was a fumble or a touchback. I'm sorry. Do you think they should have called the helmet to helmet on the review?
I think two things. Well, the helmet to helmet is not reviewable, which I think
Mm-hmm.
maybe should be because you get
Yeah.
plays like that. And honestly, it was helmet to helmet. Should have been a penalty. But I hate the touchback rule. That is such a stupid rule
Mm-hmm.
that if you fumble it forward and it happens to go outside the end zone, it's a touchback. The other team's ball on their 20. Like, that's so stupid. NFL needs to take that out. It happened with the Jets a couple years ago with Austin Safari Jenkins. He caught the touchdown pass, but because he bobbled it and got tackled, it was a safety or something. So they
Yeah.
gotta take that out. I don't like that rule. I think that was more egregious than the helmet to helmet. The helmet to helmet, it's when you get like live action football and things happen so fast, and you're looking for this feet, make sure he doesn't step out of bounds, and the pylon and the football. I can see how you can miss it. So I don't think it
Mm-hmm.
was that egregious. I think it should have been reviewable though. But I hate that rule where it's a touchback. That's so stupid. They got to take that out.
I mean, the thing is, like, the helmet to helmet is what caused him to drop the ball.
Hmm.
So it's like if you're looking at the review to look at like where he dropped it and this and that, and you see that the helmet to helmet by itself is what caused the guy to fumble because he doesn't really hit him. He hits him in the head and that's it, right?
Hmm.
And then he drops the ball. So I mean, if you know that the helmet to helmet is the reason for him dropping the ball, I think you should be able to call that afterwards. I don't know. That was just me,
No,
but
yeah,
I mean,
I agree.
it didn't matter. The Browns didn't really play all that great anyway. But fucking Mahomes gets hurt, concussion, and if he has like a full concussion, he's not playing next week,
Hmm.
which is very interesting.
That is going to be the biggest question for this entire playoffs. If Mahomes is
Yep.
out for next week, that's going to be the storyline this whole playoffs. Because that's just completely different. It changes up everything.
Yeah, I mean Chad Henne, he didn't.
He played pretty
Chad,
well.
Chad, Yeah, but I mean, he's not
Not,
no damn Patrick Mahomes.
of course.
But I mean, what is it? Andy Reid putting the game on Chad Henne's arm at the end
Oh
on that
yeah,
4th and inches.
yeah.
Huge play. That was ridiculous.
That is a very big ball play right there. Andy Reid has some big ass balls.
That I couldn't believe it. I first of all, I didn't think they were. I thought they were gonna try to get them off sides first, and then maybe try and run it. Then I thought they were gonna run it for sure.
Yeah,
or QB sneak or some shit. But when he snapped it and he starts looking out across the field, I was like, oh my god, couldn't believe it.
What was better, the play call, right, which is pretty great, or Andy Romo, Tony Romo's reaction? Tony Romo's reaction.
He was losing his mind.
Yo, he was.
Tony Romo was funny as fuck yesterday.
He was hilarious.
Oh my god, he was during the Ravens game. Tucker was missing all the field goals, and he had a 33-yard. He was like, "Oh God, please don't tell me it's a 33-yarder." I love Tony Romo as an announcer. Fuck him, but
fuck him as a player. But as an announcer, he's great. His reaction, the Chiefs ending, was hilarious. He was just like
losing his mind.
He was just like, "The play's not happening. It's not happening. It's not. Hike! Oh my god! First down, bro! We can't believe it." Yo, he was getting so hyped. I got hyped. Like my team was like the Giants just won the Super Bowl. I got hyped. I was like, "Yo, that's freaking crazy!" What? I got hyped up. So I gotta give Tony Romo credit. He got me hyped up.
Yeah, Tony Romo was an amazing announcer. I love watching him. I definitely like listening to him more than Troy Aikman and Joe Buck.
Oh God, don't get me started. What were you saying? What were you saying before?
I mean, what do you think the Chiefs' chances are now if Mahomes doesn't play against the Bills team, who looks shaky? Like they don't look that good.
Yeah, this is gonna be the question. If Mahomes is healthy but like limited in some sense, like they it's gonna be interesting. If he's out completely, that changes everything. And if he's fully healthy, it changes. Like any way you look at it, it's very important. If he's out, like the question, if he's just completely ruled out, I think you got to give it to the Bills, but not as much as you might think. I think their offense can still function, and their defense still tends to play big in big games. Like Matthew always takes his game to another notch in the playoffs. Looks like every time they need an interception or turnover, he gets it. And they still have Tyreek Hill. They still have, the rushing attack that's really good. But, without Mahomes, I don't know if I could pick the Chiefs, Yeah,
I mean, we'll get there when we get there for the pick'ems for next week for the championship games, but it's gonna be a hard game for the Chiefs.
Yeah, what do you think? You think if Mahomes is out, what do you think the chances are? Like a percentage wise? Yeah, right? It's tough.
I mean, like they have weapons and all that, but I mean, Patrick Mahomes is fucking such an amazing talent,
Yeah, I think I would put it like 60-40 Bills. And I'd probably take the Bills like maybe like 4 points over, right?
Yeah, I mean, we have to, because I mean, they have a whole week to like try to fix their game. Because I mean, they have not been playing well in the playoffs, without a doubt. So I mean, if they figure something out during this week, and if they play well, then I don't think Kansas City has a chance without Mahomes, to be honest.
Yeah, I can also see the other side. I can also see Bills' offense continue to struggle, and I can see the Chiefs doing enough to beat this Bills team.
Yeah.
That's the crazy part. It can go either way. I think if Mahomes is healthy, I'm picking the Chiefs 100 times out of 100. But because his health is in question right now, I think it's just you just don't know. Will the Bills' offense finally figure it out, or does the Chiefs' offense without Mahomes? Do they have enough, trick plays and scheming things? Do they have enough offense to score maybe 17, 20 points to beat them, Yep.
I mean, I guess we gotta wait a week and find out.
Yeah, definitely.
It's gonna be a big storyline coming into the game though. For the final game of the divisional round, we got the Boomer Bowl, Tampa Bay versus the Saints. Tampa Bay wins 30-20. Tampa Bay defense stepped up big this game. When you hold Michael Thomas to no receptions, 0 yards, I mean, that's fucking huge. Devin White played spectacular. Saints defense did a good job at neutralizing Evans, but Tampa Bay defense just played so much better. The 3 interceptions on Drew Brees that set up 21 points for Tampa Bay. I mean, such great field position. I think the first interception got him on like the fucking 2-yard line or something like that. And the Tampa Bay defense just pressured Brees the whole entire game because Brees doesn't throw over 20 yards once, and the one time he does, it's an interception at the end. So, I mean, if Drew Brees can... I don't know. I think Drew Brees doesn't have that much left in him as a player, to be honest, because he didn't even try to throw over 20 yards. And, like, if he did, if he started completing, like, some long throws, then he wouldn't have so much pressure on him. But all that pressure got to him, and, I mean, I think it ended up winning Tampa Bay the game. This was more of coming into the game, it was all about Brees versus Brady. But I think after the game, it's all about that Tampa Bay defense and how well they played.
Yeah.
Played spectacular.
Tampa Bay definitely showed up, and their defense played spectacular. But I also want to give a little shout out to Drew Brees because this was probably his last game.
Oh, yeah. Drew Brees, one of my favorite players of all time. I love Drew Brees.
Drew Brees had a Hall of Famer. No question.
Without a doubt.
One of the greatest ever to do it. And he kind of sucked that he never won a second one because he only has one, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you kind of understand that it's over for him, He can't make the throws he used to, and I don't know if I think the Saints might be better off, going a different direction. Not to say that he's not great or anything, but his plays diminished, and he's still a great, hats off to him. It was a great career. You wish, maybe last career, kind of like Peyton Manning, his last year he won a ring.
Yeah.
It was magical. It was like it just felt right. Maybe Drew Brees, same thing, but it's just not there anymore. The arm talent, you can't get the ball past 20 yards, like you said. Sucks.
Yeah, I love Drew Brees. He's one of my favorite players of all time. Well, I've always said that he deserves another ring, but I mean, the Saints. I mean, he's been given some shit defenses.
Yeah. In
the past 10 years since he won that chip. And I mean, their offense has always been good. Saints' offense has always been good, but their defense is just always a bunch of like mediocre defenses around one of the greatest players to ever play football. And it sucks that he had to go out like that, more of like a whimper than a bang.
Yeah.
I would love if he could have went out on a Peyton Manning type of thing, like you said. But I mean, it just doesn't happen like that. And I mean, he's still not even saying that he's retiring yet.
I think it was a report that he was retiring. I think Jay Glazer confirmed that, no, this is his last year.
No, Jay Glazer, I don't know where that came from. I watched the thing and Jay Glazer was like, I think this is going to be Drew Brees' final game. And then even Drew Brees said there's like 2 reports that said that he's not rushing into like a retirement decision yet after the game. So I don't know. Let me just check just to make sure because I don't know where that came from.
Yeah, but I
think
think
Drew Brees pondering retirement again, has no regret, blah blah blah.
I think his play is diminished so bad. I think it's best that Drew Brees retired.
Definitely.
You don't want to end up, the old the old superstar that's just still playing, and you have to respect him, but he isn't what he used to, and it kind of diminishes the career.
Definitely.
Michael Jordan when he's on the Wizards, it's like you just kind of try to forget it.
No, this is definitely Drew Brees' last game. He just doesn't have it anymore.
Yeah, the arm's not there no more. I think it would be best if he retires. He retires, and he left it all on the field, and that's great for Drew. But yeah, I think I just don't see him coming back.
Yeah, no way. I mean, he didn't have that great of a season this year either.
Yeah,
it was not like enough to warrant. Not even like it was a playoff collapse. It just didn't have a good season either.
And end of a great, very, very great era for Drew Brees.
Yep. Well, one of the best quarterbacks to ever play. I mean, he has all these accomplishments and shit.
Yeah, not to take away anything from the Bucks because the Bucks still played well, and
the Bucks played amazing.
They played really good, and Tom Brady wasn't even throwing the ball that well either.
I mean, the whole week I was talking about Tampa Bay offense this, Tampa Bay offense that, but their defense really won them that game.
Yeah.
The defense played phenomenally. Bunting, I think his name was. Edwards played good. White played good. Like all these players stepped it up, I mean, if you hold Michael Thomas to 0 yards, that's a great fucking game. That's an amazing game.
Yeah, he's their only real passing threat.
Yeah, I mean, Traquan Swift played good, but that's because Michael Thomas is not getting passed to. Yeah.
And one of his biggest catches was just wide open, Jameis Winston. That was a chunk of his yards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I talked about it last week how much I love that Bears play that they played against the Saints, that fucking trick play.
Mm.
And the Saints used that exact same play.
Yeah.
And it worked. And I was so hyped when I seen that.
Yeah, it's a copycat league. I said that.
I loved it.
When you put something on film that works the week before, the team after that looks at that and they're gonna do the same thing, you know.
Yeah, I'm glad they pulled it out. I'm glad it worked this time because it didn't work for the Bears. Because I mean,
yeah. So I think the Bucks are another team like the Bills that their offense needs to start clicking more if they want to be taken seriously. And Brady has to step up his game. You know, he usually does when it comes to playoff time and big games. But I didn't like the way he looked too much. I hope they figure it out next week when they verse Green Bay.
Yeah, Bills and the Tampa Bay have big mountains to climb next week if they want to go to the Super Bowl.
For sure.
So let's start talking about those games. Championship games. Who do we like? Who are we taking? First game, Tampa Bay versus Green Bay. Aaron Rodgers and Brady's first playoff matchup. Never played in the playoffs before. I mean, because they've been in different conferences their whole careers, but never met in the playoff and the Super Bowl, nothing. So what do we think? How are we gonna take this?
I'm gonna put this out there right now. I got Green Bay winning the whole thing. So I think Aaron Rodgers is playing so great, and his team and Matt LaFleur got their guys buying in, and the defense is stepping up, and it's getting better. I don't see anybody stopping this Green Bay team. I really don't. I think they're gonna win it all. I don't think the Bucks win it, obviously, and because the question marks around Mahomes, that only makes me believe in the Packers that much more. You know, you can't give this Green Bay team an edge this year. Not this year, I don't think. And the fact that Mahomes' health is in question, and if he plays, let's just say he plays next week and wins, and they verse each other. Now you have to start questioning his health even in that game too, because concussions linger. That's not a thing that they just go away. They lag. You know, they carry over for periods of time. You know.
Yeah.
So I got Green Bay winning it all. I don't think the Bucks stand a chance. I'm pretty sure it's a home game, right? For
Green Bay, yeah.
Yeah.
It's at Lambeau.
And Lambeau
cold
too.
Game. But I mean, Tom Brady's not new to cold games, you know.
No, for sure. But I think maybe the Tampa as a whole, though, other people might be more affected. I got Green Bay. I don't see how they lose. I'm very confident in them. How about you?
You know, just seeing how the Tampa Bay offense has been playing the last two games, I think I'm gonna have to go Green Bay too. But I think it should be a good game.
For sure, it's gonna be an epic matchup. It's gonna be one of those games you think back in for 5 years from now. You're gonna be like Brady versus Rodgers. Potentially one of these guys winning another ring. Tom Brady, he won a ring without Belichick. You know, that's a huge. And or on the flip side, it's Aaron Rodgers winning his second ring, which is long overdue.
Yeah, definitely. Aaron Rodgers is another player that deserves another ring for sure because he plays phenomenal football. I think we're in for a very, very good football game.
Like, it's going to be a gritty game, too.
Definitely. I'm very excited for next week. Both the games, to be honest. I'm very excited. So, I got Green Bay winning.
Yeah, and then next game is Chiefs versus Bills. Chiefs at home. And I think we both agree that the health of Mahomes is really going to play a factor. I'm not, as of today, on Monday, the 18th, I'm not sure who I'm going to pick because if Mahomes doesn't play, I don't think I could take him. I really don't. But if he plays or if he's even limited, I think I gotta go Chiefs because this Bill team. I was really high on this Bill team coming into the playoffs, but their offense really hasn't showed up, and they have to get their offense figured out now. You know, they have to, or they stand no chance. Because even if Patrick Mahomes out, you can still bank on the Chiefs scoring a couple of touchdowns. They'll figure it out somehow, you know. They have so many weapons on offense. They'll figure out how to get 14, 17 points a game, you know, the game. You know, it's a question of can they score more and can the Bills even score that much, you know?
Yeah.
So
I mean, on paper, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. On paper, these teams are very evenly matched when it comes to like where they rank offensively and defensively. So I mean, I'm excited. I want Mahomes to play so we can get the best game possible.
Of course.
But I still, the main reason I want the Bills to win is because Josh Allen said that he would jump through a flaming table if they won the Super Bowl. So I'm going with the Bills again. I need to see Josh Allen jump through a flaming table.
Are you actually taking him?
Yep.
Oh wow, I'm actually surprised.
I don't care who's playing. Chad Henne, Taylor Heineke, Patrick Mahomes, Namath. I don't care. I'm taking the Bills.
Okay.
Yep. So we're gonna see what happens next week when I'm wrong.
Bro, like I said, if Mahomes doesn't win, if he doesn't play, I could see the Bills winning. I could see a world that they win. So it's not as crazy as maybe someone listening might think.
Yeah, no, definitely not. I think we're in for 2 good games.
Yeah.
No matter what happens, Andy Reid's an amazing coach, and if Mahomes doesn't play, he's gonna coach his ass off, and he's gonna always have a chance to win no matter what.
Yeah, for sure.
So those are our pick'ems for the championship game.
Mm.
We didn't talk about the college football championship game.
Oh, that happened too, right?
Yeah, I think it happened the day of the podcast.
Yeah, so we didn't get to talk about it.
Alabama, I mean, violated Ohio State.
Whooped them.
52-24. Doubled their score. Yeah. No, it wasn't even close. Devontae Smith looked amazing. I think he got hurt near the end.
Can I say something?
Yeah, go ahead.
So we did the draft, the mock drafts a couple pods ago, and we were talking about who's at 11. I said Devontae Smith. I completely changed that. Devontae Smith is not going to be there at 11. There's no way.
12 receptions, 215 yards, 3 TDs. This guy's an animal.
He's not going to be at there 11. He'd be lucky. The Giants would be lucky if they trade up at the 6, because I don't think he's leaving at the top 5.
Yeah, no, Devontae Smith, his draft stock, if it wasn't already
sky high,
it's fucking to the moon.
Yeah,
right now.
He might go top 3, top 2. You don't know.
Yeah.
So
Fields didn't look too good.
No, he didn't.
That game. Ohio State just didn't look too good in general.
I think Fields was playing off an injury too. I think he didn't look right.
Oh yeah.
I think he was playing with an injury, and that's why it wasn't as pretty as should have been. You know.
Yeah.
So that was a blowout. Not much to say other than Bama whooping their ass, winning another championship, and and Devontae Smith was the storyline of that game. Absolutely dominated the first half. Had probably one of the best first halves in college history. Like what? Like this guy nobody can guard him. It's amazing. He's always open.
Did you see the play? I don't know what the fuck happened, but the linebacker was trying to catch up to Devontae Smith. Yes. That was embarrassing. Whoever drew up that play needs to get shot. They set that linebacker out there to fail.
It was funny.
That was so embarrassing.
It's just that's the funny part of college when you have like future Hall of Famers playing with like guys who end up being accountants in like 2 to 3 years, or like janitors or something. You know, that you seen it. Like no, I don't mean no disrespect to that guy, but I don't think he's in the Hall of Famer. I don't think he has a long NFL career. He's trying to guard Devontae Smith, is going to probably go as high as 2 in the upcoming draft. You know? Yeah,
that was bad, man.
You seen it in display. It was funny. Yeah.
No, I mean, that's it. I don't anything else you want to talk about?
As for football or the pod as a whole?
Just in general, I don't know what else we have to talk about. You want to talk about the Knicks?
Yeah. So the Knicks, last pod, they were doing good, and I didn't want to jinx them, and then I jinxed them because then they shit their beds. I think they went on a 5-game losing streak.
5 games, yep.
And then, so we're not gonna talk about those 5 games because this is a positive podcast.
No, why not?
No.
Let's talk about those 5 games.
No. I'll hang up right now.
Okay, well, I'm gonna talk about those 5 games.
No, you're not.
Why not?
So we beat Celtics 2 days ago, or yesterday. That was a great win. Smoked them, blew them out by 30. And we beat Magic today. And Emmanuel quickly needs to start. I'm sick and tired of Payne. Bro, can we please trade him for anything? Can we trade him for a freaking second-round pick in 2030 or something? Like, can we get a trade him for a 6th grader or something? I'm so sick,
for
bro.
A 2nd grader.
Bro, I'm so infuriated by this guy, and it's not Payton himself. It's just the player he is just does not fit on this roster. And quickly is just everything we need. We need the shooting. We need someone to push the pace. He's a better passer. He's a better scorer, bro. When quickly does good, and RJ has been playing great too. But when quickly he's doing good and RJ's playing good, Knicks win. When those two guys are not playing or they're struggling, the Knicks lose. It's not rocket science. It's 1-1. When RJ's out there putting up 20 and 10 like he did today, and you're getting the production out of quickly in the guard play, they're gonna win games because they have the good defense. They have good defense. They were top 5, but I don't know if they're still top 5.
But let's not get too excited about this Orlando game because that game was disgusting.
Yeah, that was a disgusting game.
Terrible to watch. I hated every second of it.
It was just two bad offenses going at each other.
And the Knicks almost lost. They almost blew it.
14-point lead in the fourth, and they almost blew it. But listen, they were blowing when quickly was playing. Like I know he's a rookie. I know he was the 25th pick. Like I know I have to calm down about it, but he makes the team so much better. We were blowing him out when he was in. He was a jolt off the bench. And then it's no coincidence that when Elfrid Payton comes back in, we can't score no more.
Yeah.
And he clogs up things when we need shooting around Julius and RJ because they're not really strong shooters. So the defense gets clunked up when you have him and Mitch and Randall and RJ and Bullock, who's like a fake shooter. He's like the fakest 3-point shooter I've ever seen in my life. What 3-point shooter shoots like 60% from the line? 70%. Like
I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, bro. He's the fakest 3-point shooter I've ever seen in my life. Gotta get both of them out. I like Bullock to stay, but Payton gotta go. Quickly needs to start, and he needs to close. That's all I'm gonna say about the Knicks. Don't talk about no losing streak. If the season ended right now, we in the 6th seed, so keep it positive. Keep it positive.
I have a question then.
Mm-hmm.
What did you think of Andre Drummond's 33 and 23 game he had on Friday?
Yo.
Just a random question. He played against the Knicks. Oh, my bad. I didn't see that. Yeah. So what did you think about that game? That 33 and 23 game he had?
In seriousness, I hated it. I hate it. That was a horrible game. The Knicks have a tendency to play up to their talent level. So when they're playing good teams, they play good. When they play shitty teams, they play shitty. Like they play to their opponent's talent level, and I hate it. You know, it's just not good. And the shooting is just gonna kill me. If they have to go get a shooter from the draft, not the draft, from the trade market or free agent or something, bro. Please. The Knicks drive me crazy, man.
Well, the Knicks 2-game win streak now. Hopefully they can keep it up.
Yeah, and now they're gonna lose 5 because we talked about them on the pod.
They go up against the Warriors.
We should beat them.
Thursday.
Warriors suck.
Yeah, you should beat them, but like you said, they play to the talent level.
I have one thing to close it on. So, George Springer, there's a report that George Springer, top free agent for MLB right now, center fielder. So the reports are saying that he might pick where he's going this week, which is very important for the Mets because they're one of the 2 finalists, and the Mets are mostly linked to George Springer, and he's exactly what they need. They need a right-handed bat, some pop, and they need a center fielder because they just can't put Brandon Nimmo in center field anymore because he's just not serviceable. Like when you look at the analytics, he's like the worst defensive center fielder, which is no fault to him. He's a corner outfielder that they're sticking in center field because they don't have a center fielder. So look out for my Mets fans. Look out. Put John Heyman or whoever, Ken Rosenthal, put their notifications on because he's signing soon, and I believe that he ends up a Met. I don't know, but we'll see. Sounds like he wants to be a Met.
That's what's up.
So next pod we could be talking about another superstar coming to New York. So we already talked about Harden. We talked about who we talk about. DJ.
Talked about all those coaches.
The coaches, Salah, all these
signings.
Yeah. And now next pod we could be potentially talking about George Springer playing center field for the Mets. Hopefully.
Well, I want to talk about one more thing before we end. Seahawks trying to get an offensive coordinator. They decide to their interest list got Adam Gase on it, and I don't know. What do you think about Adam Gase as the offensive coordinator for Seahawks? But I want you to imagine that you're Jamal Adams. So you're Jamal Adams, and you see, oh no, Adam Gase is being interviewed for offensive coordinator.
All right, here's the scene. Pete Carroll. I'm at Jamal Adams. Pete Carroll comes to me and asks me what's my advice, like what's my opinion on Adam Gase, right? I'm gonna tell them, okay, fly him out here, but while you're flying him out here, send him to Japan. Don't send him here. Don't send him to Seattle. And then put him on a boat, sail him to the Philippines, and then while he's on the boat to the Philippines, sink the ship. Because that I fucking fuck Adam Gase.
Jamal Adams got to be fuming in the locker room or wherever the fuck he is right now. At home, probably.
If you're a Jet fan, you better hope that Seattle signs him, like they hire him, and now you can just laugh inside. That Jamal Adams, he left you, and he did all these things to get out of New York and get out of the Jets, and now he's with Adam Gase again. You know, it's like karma.
Adam Gase is gonna follow Jamal Adams to the ends of the earth. They're gonna be buried next to each other at the cemetery.
Yeah.
He's never gonna leave him
I
alone.
really, really, really hope, and I'm sure all Jets fans hope, that Adam Gase ends up with the Seahawks for that reason, just so they can get the last laugh.
Yeah, no, it would be fucking hilarious.
I have one more thing since we're just doing just talking about random things. Can we talk about Yankee Twitter bullying an organization into they're trying to speak into existence a Luis Castillo trade. So what had happened was, for some reason, Yankee fans just woke up one morning and they said, let me go on Twitter and let me just go on a rant about Yankees should make a trade for Luis Castillo, who's the starting pitcher on the Cincinnati Reds. Great pitcher. Very young, too. So it started blowing up. I seen it on Twitter. It was trending. They were going crazy. All these people sending their mock drafts or whatever. All this. And then next day, the Cincinnati Reds had to release a statement saying that no, we're not trading him, because they seen the reports on Twitter and they just had to answer. It's just funny.
Yeah, they started panicking. They were like, "Yo."
Like Luis Castillo was probably like, "Am I getting traded? What the heck is going on? Why is it, And Cincinnati was like, "No, we're not trading him. No." And then it was just funny to see Yankee fans make trade proposals.
Mm-hmm.
So it's always funny when you try to do a trade proposal for your favorite team, because like when Knicks fans, it's like, oh, we'll give you Frank Ntilikina and Kevin Knox for Steph Curry, and then or like the Yankees, it was like a bunch of fucking nobodies that nobody cares about, like Andujar, he hasn't been good in like 2 years, prospects that nobody gives a shit about for a great pitcher, and then Yankees fans would be like, no, that's too much, just give him this. It's like crazy. Like I love reading those trades on Twitter. Kevin Knox, Frank for LeBron James and Mike Trout. And then you have that one.
Shit like that is always funny.
And then one Boza, that's too much. Just give him Frank. Don't give him.
And then there's like Karis LeVert and like 8 picks for like James Harden, and it's like, yeah, that's never gonna happen.
Well, we'll see, that could happen. But you think any?
I mean, yeah,
You think any Nets fan would put that on Twitter though?
No, definitely not.
I'm pretty sure Nets fan, when they were doing like their mock drafts for James Harden, I'm sure Karis LeVert wasn't even on it. It was probably Jared Allen. Not even. DeAndre Jordan, a second round pick, and a 2027 first round pick, conditional.
Yeah,
heavily protected for James Harden. So I love when those. If you're on Twitter, please do those trades. I love reading them. Those are always hilarious.
They're always funny to read. Yeah.
Like, how do you come up with this stuff? And it always gets me when it always gets me when the comment says, "No, I wouldn't do this trade. It's too much." That always gets me. I always look out for that. Always hilarious. It's like, why do we have to give up? Why do we have to give up Frank and Kevin? Just give him Kevin.
Yeah.
Just give him Kevin. We don't need. Shut the fuck.
We're asking for way too much for LeBron right now.
Exactly.
He's old, washed up. Just give him Kevin Knox. That's all he needs.
Kevin Knox got upside. Don't sleep. Like, bro.
He's had an upside for the past 5 years. He peaked in high school.
He really did.
If you watch his like high school mixtape, he looks like the greatest player alive. Even
in college. He looked like a young Kevin Durant. Like, I'm not gonna lie, he looked great. It's sad that his prime was an 18.
Yeah, that does really suck, actually.
Peak at 18 years old.
I watched the 30 for 30.
On what?
About Deion Sanders with the day he played 2 sports.
Mm-hmm.
That was what a 30 for 30s. I don't know, I feel like we gotta start talking about those or something.
Those are always bangers.
They're dropping an Al Davis one. Al Davis versus the NFL. I think next week, after like sometime near the Connor fight. I'm very excited for that. But the Deion Sanders one was very interesting to watch. Like, I learned so much that I didn't even know about it and shit.
Like what?
Like, this man, I mean, like, I knew he played the two sports in the one day, but I didn't know after the football game he flew back to play another World Series game afterwards, and then they didn't even play him.
Wow.
Like, so Saturday he plays the World Series, whatever. He's like, all right. He gets to Miami at 5 a.m., wakes up, gets to the arena at like 11:30. Plays his game. He doesn't even play that well. He plays like shit because he's tired as fuck. And he's like, all right, I'm still going. I'm going back. He goes back and they benched him. They're like, nah, fuck you.
Yeah, fucked up, right? Actually, I didn't even know that either.
It's a very good series. 30 for 30 is always a great.
Yeah, if you're listening, go check it out because it sounds pretty good, right?
Yeah, you should watch it too. I'll give you my ESPN Plus.
Yeah, definitely. I'll watch it. All right, so we talked about a lot. We talked about the head coaching hires in the NFL, playoffs, pick'ems, Ohio State, Deshaun Watson, the Jets, the Nets, the Mets, the Yankees, the Knicks. We talked about a lot, right, Jeff?
Yeah, I mean, this is our what are we at? Almost an hour and 20 minutes.
Yeah,
our longest one yet. We had a lot to talk about. A lot happened this week.
Yeah, I think it's a good place to end. Nothing to add.
That's it.
See you guys next week. Hopefully, George Springer's and Matt. Hopefully, the Knicks continue their win streak. Hopefully, we get some news on Deshaun Watson and the Jets. Yeah.
A lot of loose ends to be tied up. There's a little cliffhanger we're ending on.
Yeah. It should be.
Like Dragon Ball Z.
Yep. To be continued. So, we'll see you guys next week, next Monday. Later.
See ya.